Hi, I'm Adriana and you're watching the Spiritual Awakening with Adriana channel. Today I would like to talk about something amazing that I have encountered. So I have started reading about Emanuel Swedenborg by accident. Basically, it was one video on YouTube that was very interesting and that talked about him. And then I went ahead and I got myself almost all of his books, which are a lot of books, and I started reading them. And I'm really fascinated with his work, so I would like to make this into a series of videos. And I'm still reading his book, so I'm by no measure an expert in Swedenborg. I'm by no measure an expert in everything that he has ever written, and lots of people talked about him. He was living in the 17th and 18th century, and he was a scientist that at the end of his life, last 20 or so years, he received a spiritual awakening and revelation, and he was convinced that he was appointed by the God to reform the Christianity. His work, in fact, did not start a church, did not reform Christianity, but his work is fascinating in so many aspects. So first of all, he talks about what happens to us when we die. And he said that he was privileged to have been able to see what happens when we die, and that this was allowed to him by God and angels. And frankly, I must share one thing with you. So when I'm reading his work, one of the things that really stand out to me is that his work is really confirming to me that we might really be living in a simulation. Because if you imagine, Swedenborg lived in time when there was no technology present. And his work, his fantasies that he saw were so alike basically a computer game, which today we might be able to recognize as a game. And his thoughts and his understanding of the thing was very advanced, basically. He's talking about stuff like the natural and the spiritual body. And he thinks that what happens here in this 3D, basically I'm calling it 3D, he did not call it 3D, he called it natural, but what happens here in this 3D has its correspondence in the spiritual. And basically, when you think about the Sims game, you are the spiritual in that regard, and you are the one making the natural jump up and down and go places and do stuff. And if we are living in a simulation, let's be realistic, God is nothing more than I would not say player, because player would imply some bad intention on behalf of those that are running the simulation. But the fascinating thing for me is that Swedenborg, in fact, in his book Heaven and Hell in One Place, refers to the ultimate reality. And when we are talking about the simulation hypothesis, we are always talking about, okay, we are in a simulation, and then there is the ultimate reality. And ultimate reality is basically where we are coming to life. Because this, in that sense, is not really the life. It is just a game. That we are here and that we are supposed to enjoy. We are supposed to love this life. And this is why I find Emanuel Swedenborg fascinating. I'm trying not to read just his words, but I'm trying to see beyond the scene, to see what somebody that lived in the 17th or 18th century was seeing, and how this might look if we saw that now. So I'm still reading Emanuel Swedenborg, and I will definitely make this several videos about him, because I'm fascinated with him. I'm fascinated with what he saw, with what he experienced, and I'm so happy that I found him, and I warmly recommend to all of you to read Emanuel Swedenborg. There is this amazing translation of his work, because he was writing in Latin, and for a long time his work was not really accessible to common people, because not many of us know Latin. I do not know Latin, of course. And there are now very good translations available on Amazon. I will put links to those books on Amazon in the comments below, so that you can also take a look at them. And I look forward to your comments. If you know anything about Emanuel Swedenborg, if you have read his work, if you are as fascinated with him as I am, please share. I would like to open a discussion on that, and I look forward to seeing you very soon again. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.